Page 70, Go Down Moses. The top of the page, they're introducing some new symbols, 2 new symbols having to do with dynamics. Remember, we talked about dynamics. It's louds and softs. These are those sideways arrows. And I'm not talking about like an accent where it's a sideways arrow over a note or under a note. These span multiple notes. There'll be 2 or more notes. And usually they're in between, they're in the middle of the staff, between the staff. If there isn't room, they may put them above or below. Doesn't really matter where they are, they apply the same way. And they apply to both staves. So each staff doesn't have to have its own set of symbols, because in dynamics, most of the time, the dynamic will apply to the melody and you have to apply it accordingly. Well, on these things, these arrows, they apply to both staves, both hands. There are times in music, in more advanced music, where you'll see it maybe in the staff or right next to the staff, and they only want it to apply to that staff. We're not there yet, okay? So for now, it applies to both staves, both hands. The first one is called a crescendo. We're back to the Italian, and that means gradually get louder. The second one is the diminuendo or the decrescendo. Could be called either one. Same difference. And that means gradually get softer, gradually. That's the key word. That's the kicker. In the music, then you think, okay, how do I remember which is which? Is this getting louder or softer? And I do it, you do it any way you want, but I do it by reading, as I'm reading the music from left to right. If the arrow starts at a point, that's the softest part. And as the lines get further apart, I'm going to get louder. Or if the arrow starts with the lines apart, that's the loudest part. And as the lines come together, I'm going to get softer. And that's how I remember which is which. You see these in Go Down Moses in the first line. In the first full measure, there's one tells you to get louder, and the second one tells you to get softer. Now, most of the time in music, they won't tell you how loud or how soft to get. You have to judge that, and again, that's part of interpretation. This piece, they're telling you, which is kind of nice. It's like they're telling you how to interpret it, and that helps when you're learning and you're getting ideas, and that's great. More advanced music probably wouldn't tell you how loud to get. You'd have to figure it out on your own. So let's look at Go Down Moses. It's on pages 70 and 71, 5 lines. There's no repeat. We've got treble and bass clef. It's in 4/4 time. We've got quarter notes and half notes and dotted half notes, whole notes. We can deal with all that. It has a pickup measure, a pickup beat. There's only one beat in that first measure. So we're coming in on beat 4. That means the first 3 beats should be someplace else. If you look at the last measure on page 71, for you, that is a dotted half note, which is 3 counts, so that's okay. We'll take it one hand at a time, make sure we understand the notes and the rhythms and all. Starting with the right hand, we're here, thumb on C. They don't tell you that, I'm telling you that. Put thumb on C. If you want to write in a 1 above that first C, you can, because they didn't tell you what to do. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The next measure, you have a D and an E together. And they're not exactly on top of each other because they can't. There isn't room. So they turn them slightly at an angle. So you play them at the same time. Here. Sounds great. And so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Because that's a C and an E. See, the E stayed the same. You just went from the D to the C. Okay, let's go over to page 71 on measure, 10? When you play, second line. 1, 2, 3, 4. You C and E. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest. 2, 3, 4, and so forth. Left hand. And the left hand is little finger on E. That puts you in this position. And it comes in on beat 4. So it's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we have a G with a sharp sign. So instead of here, we're going to go up here. I'm going to use the same finger. And both of those G's are sharp. Remember, it applies from that point on for the rest of the measure. So it's here. So that second line there is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Okay, let's go over to page 71. Measure 10. You have an F and an A. Okay, you're still in this position. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, then G sharp. 1, 2, rest. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4. Now, I want to challenge you a little more. I do love challenges, huh? And that is try, you wait till you learn the piece if you want, but try and get where you can play these sharps, in this case G sharps, without looking at the keyboard. You can feel that going up to that black key. You know about where it is. You can feel it without having to look. You have to look at it first, of course, but you want to develop that feel of just knowing what that feels like so you can hit that key gently without having to look eventually. And that would be that way with any black key. And see if when you get these sharps, these accidental like that, try and get to where you can play that note without having to look. Put the hands together here and here. So it's 4, 1. Just quarter notes. Then here, then here. All of these are together. These are together. So you can go through and put the notes together. And when you're happy with it or satisfied with it, get rid of the hesitations. And then maybe we can think about the articulation. We have slurs, and I don't know if there's accents or not. I have to look again. I think there are. So it's just slur these, connect these. And then at the end of the line, you have a new phrase. It's like taking a breath. Just here. Just a little silence. And again, it's a new phrase. Lift up both hands. It's like taking a breath. And connect. New phrase, lift up. Now when you get to measure 11, you get accents. You play this a little louder, both hands. At the end of the line, lift up before you go on. Lift up. Lift up. Silence between that. It's a very short phrases. Well, phrase can be any number of notes or whatever, so lift up. Then finally you can think about the dynamics. We're starting soft, and you have to decide what soft is. Then you have these arrows. You want to go up to moderately loud. Well, we have two arrows here, and they're facing each other. Now when I have this is called a swell. Swell up, bring back down. I look in the middle between the arrows to see what note or notes are there, and that's my target. That's what I'm after. And I want those notes, or that note, and that measure, that C, to be moderately loud, sort of loud. So I'm going from soft to moderately loud, whatever that is. So I want to plan it out. If I don't plan it out, I'll be moderately loud in the first full, I'll be... I'm already moderately loud. That's too soon. Gotta plan it out. A little louder, now, here. So it's like I did two notes at a time. So the first two notes in the first full measure is soft. I go up to sort of a moderately soft, just a little louder. Now I'm moderately loud. Here. There. So I gradually get louder. You have to plan these things out sometimes or it doesn't work. And then I'm going to go back down to soft, but I'm going to do it quickly. So it's moderately loud, moderately soft, soft. I'm going down fairly quickly there. So the first line. To go up and back down. Then the second line we're loud here. This is for the left hand here. And you got that little arrow, you go down to soft. So it's like two notes of loud, moderately loud, and you can actually just do moderately soft here because the soft is actually on the last beat. It's interpretation. You decide on whether you feel it that way or not. On measure 9, you're moderately soft here. whatever you think moderately soft is. And now you're loud with an accent. I don't know about that. Go ahead and play. That makes that one note very loud. Now you're loud. And really it's the right hand, it's the melody. And you come down a little bit, not much, just a little bit. Just a little bit. And then measure 13, you're moderately loud with an accent, makes the one note loud. Now it's soft, you're going to echo that. Now loud, a little softer, soft. So there in the end, it's like every two notes. You come down. See, remember the dynamic applies to the melody, but in some cases, like at the beginning, it's all melody, it doesn't matter. But then in the second line on page 70, these are not melody. Keep these out of the way. So you have to figure out what melody is. We want to hear the melody. The idea really with dynamics and articulation and all that is interpreting the music, making it emotional, rather than just note, 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 note. And you need to get into it enough that you're comfortable with mechanics and you're really feeling the music and you feel these dynamics. You feel the articulation. That's where it really happens. And of course, don't forget the natural accents. So we know this pickup beat is a pickup beat. It doesn't start 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. No, it's a 4, 1. So that to hear. And then finally the speed. Well, this is a sad piece, so it's going to go slow. But we have to be careful on piano. We don't want to go too slow. And if you have a singer or someone or a violin or somewhere that can sustain the sound, they can go kind of slow and get away with it because they can play around with the sound. As a piano, we play the note and it dies away. So be careful. We don't want to go. That just drags. It just, oh, please. Is this nightmare going to get over? It's got to sort of flow, but make it flow slow, I guess. I have a problem with my dynamics and the equipment. It wants to even out the volume most of the time, so I have to exaggerate it to get it. It sounds terrible. If I played it where it sounded decent, it would come across as I'd played it all about the same. That's unfortunate. I haven't figured out what to do about it yet, but just understand that I'm trying to do these dynamics according to it. It's weird. If it doesn't come across in the video, I blame it on the electronics because I'm playing beautifully. Just take my word for it. Okay. I do want to point out in measure 9, you have the MP and then you have the CRESC period. Remember, crescendo, that's short for crescendo. It's the same as the arrow. Exactly the same thing. That simply means you start getting louder. So it's just moderately soft. You go up to moderately loud for the next measure. So it's moderately soft. The next measure is moderately loud. It's really for the right hand. Now you're loud, except the first note's very loud. So they can use crescendo or they can use the arrow. In band, a lot of times when they put in crescendo in that, we'll take a pencil and draw in the arrow because it's easier for us to read the symbols than it is to read those words. Now they've added a little bit of pedal on measures 9 and 10. I personally disagree with it. See, if you're going to use pedal, why are you using it? Well, in this case, they're using it for the contrast. They want the overtones for this Go Down Moses. They want those two measures to stand out, to be different than the rest of the piece. Well, if you're going to use pedal, push the pedal down right after you play the first note in measure 9 and hold it down until measure 10 and lift it up with the hand so there's a little silence before you go on. And that's all you pedal. I'm not going to bother showing it if that's all they're going to do it, and frankly I still don't think you even need it. I understand the contrast to making it stand out. It's just those two measures, really, you want those to stand out like that, and yeah, it gets back to interpretation. How you use the pedal, again, is part of interpretation. helping me. You get to know it and get into the music and feel the music, and you make it yours. Let's play it together slowly and check that we have the right notes and rhythms. Not going to do any dynamics, just notes and rhythms. I'll try and add an accent if I see one occasionally, but just rhythms and notes. I'll give us 3 counts because we come in on beat 4. 1, ready, go. 3, off. And there's a duet for this at the bottom of the page. I'd like to do that. And you play what you just played. I'll speed it up a little bit. And the duet part's got a lot of half notes in it. I need to play something on the beat. So when it's got half notes, I'm going to play quarter notes or something so we can keep the beat, so we can stay together. And again, I need you to go up an octave on the keyboard. So just pretend the middle C, instead of here, is come up here. And instead of here, play it up here. Play it all up here. The duet part doesn't have a pickup beat. You do, but I'm going to play that note with you, and then I'll play the duet part. 1, ready, go.